Hi James, thanks for joining us today. If you can just start with sharing who you are and what you do.
Yeah, I'm James Gregg. I work at a company called Motive Offshore. Was one of the original founders, and currently I'm the European Regional Director of the business.
Cool. And you started Motive in 2010, something like that. But before we get to Motive, who is James Gregg? Where did you come from? Where did you start? Where did you grow up?
So I grew up in a place called Cornhill beside Banff. Went to little wee primary school with about 60 people, 60 children. So that was interesting. And then went to Banff Academy, which was to me like a big city
Yeah.
at that stage. So yeah,
You like bus to school?
Yeah,
Kind of where you stay?
yeah. In the winter time, we had to push the bus out of the snowdrifts, and it was pretty remote. But yeah, started kind of working quite at an early age, kind of part time, and then I was at college when I left school. Did a HND in mechanical engineering.
What kind of industry is in Cornhill?
Farming.
Farming. Okay.
Yeah, very much a farmer.
Did you get into farming?
Not really, but a lot of my friends are farmers. So
Okay.
my dad had a car garage, still has a car garage, so I kind of grew up in and out of the car garage doing various.
Always mechanical then?
Yeah, from a very early age, I was in the garage helping him.
Cool. And then got into leaving school. Where did you go for there?
So as I said, I went to college in Aberdeen. At the same time, I was working part time for a company called Ace Winches, which I did a kind of unofficial apprenticeship there for the first few years, and then progressed.
And then you were at Ace Winches for a long time, right up until you started Motive?
Yeah, I was there for about 15 years.
Yeah.
So kind of learned my trade there and management skills, honed them a little bit. And
So what was your career at Motive then, of that 15-year span? You went for sort of semi-apprenticeship type thing to general manager?
Yeah, at Ace Winches. So it was, started off just, I suppose, trainee apprenticeship type position. Didn't actually do a formal modern apprenticeship as such, but I like to think it was as good as an apprenticeship. So learn various kind of mechanical, hydraulic and electrical skills along the way. Slowly progressed more into a managerial role. So I think the first managerial role I had was a service manager. So managing a team of technicians that went out and serviced. At that time, it was 100% fishing industry vessels. So the hydraulic systems and
So no, the Ace Winches that we know today?
no, it was quite different in those days. I think there was about 30 staff, maybe about 500,000 turnover at that stage, 100% fishing industry. So over the years, I progressed to held various kind of management positions, and the business grew during my time there from, as I say, about 30 staff up to maybe, I don't know, 200 maybe when I left, and maybe about 40 million turnover. So a substantial business.
So that wasn't coming by fishing anymore?
No, it transitioned almost 100%. Just over the period, it just transitioned out of the fishing industry into oil and gas, really, and energy.
So
industry.
You then moved on for Ace. What happened there?
Well, I turned 30 and
Right.
thought, it's now or never. So I ended up leaving, which was, probably the hardest thing I'd ever done in my life at that point.
Did you feel at that point it was time to go within the company, or just you personally wanted to do something different?
Probably a bit of both. So I did. Yeah, I felt it was the right time to go. As I said, I just turned 30 and thought, well, I either stay here for the rest of my career or I do something different. Decided to do something different and just go for it. Wrote a business plan and that was it.
Yeah, and we've spoke before about when you kicked off Motive, you were working in, I think, one of your dad's sheds, I think,
Yeah.
at the start. So what the fuck happened there? How is Motive now 380 people for your dad's shed?
Yeah, it just evolved. So I spoke to my dad and said, look, looking for a cost-effective solution to start the business. I don't have much cash, spare cash to spend on property or rent or stuff. So we agreed. He was, I suppose, semi-retired at that point as well, and looking to slow things down a little bit. So he agreed. So basically just emptied the building that he had in the yard and started from there.
Was this part of his car repair, or
Yeah.
was this? Yeah.
Yeah. At the peak, he had 4 staff,
Okay.
and it was quite a big business. But he just let it scale down just as he got a bit older. So there was just himself there. So we didn't displace any people.
Yeah. So starting Motive, you get a shed. Where did you go for there? How did you get work?
Just
I'm guessing you had relationships with
Yeah.
companies.
I think that was a real key. I already had quite a lot of really good, strong relationships with potential clients and suppliers.
And what were you doing? Were you manufacturing stuff?
Yeah, so we manufactured our first HPU in that small building.
Right.
So we did win a rental project, and we rented out an HPU
Who was that?
company.
Too long ago.
Yeah. It was a guy called Richard Parkinson. At the time, he had a company called, I can't remember, it was a seismic research
Right.
project, and he needed an HPU. It's a seismic research company, and the name will come to me. He rented out this HPU, or hired this HPU from us to power some of his equipment on the deck. So it turned out to be a really good job. But prior to that, we were doing mostly repair work, refurbishment of equipment. So I basically went in to see some of our previous clients. I worked with the ACE and just asked, look, is there anything I could do for you guys?
Smaller jobs.
Yeah, smaller jobs.
Yeah.
So we took on some refurbishment of equipment, some
Did you have-
hydraulic work.
What kind of kit did you have?
Well, I
Not
built
to
up.
manufacture that.
Yeah, I built up my own kind of toolkit when I
Yeah.
was working on the tools. Still had that. My dad kind of let me use some of his equipment. So he had compressors and some welding plant and stuff. Just very basic stuff.
Yeah.
Lightweight, which was enough to get us going. And just slowly but surely bought another piece of equipment, bought a forklift with a retained profit.
Did your dad also work with you?
He helped.
Yeah.
Yeah, he did help in the early days with some of the projects.
Yeah. And then going through just you and sometimes your dad to your first employee, or what was the next step?
I think the first employee was a lady that I worked with at ACE. She came on board, and she was a HSEQ advisor at ACE Winches. So she came on board, and we basically built a quality management system from the ground up.
Okay.
For ISO 9001. So that was obviously recognised to work in the industry.
So that was key to win work.
Yeah. So that was quite an investment. But she was also like doing all the admin, anything I needed doing. But so me and her built that quality management system to comply with the standard, and we got accredited in May 2011. And remember that day. It was a big milestone for the business.
Yeah.
It was the first big milestone, I would think.
Yeah. Yeah. And then, so what was the well, getting that, then what's the next step? Where did you go for there?
Yeah, just slowly but surely started to build up more of a track record and start to work for more for bigger clients. So initially it was very difficult to get on the vendor list for any clients. A lot more
Because of the ISO accreditation, or just because you were a new company?
because of the risk to the client, I suppose, the credit risk, the new company. There were lots of things we didn't have, but the ISO accreditation was a big enabler to allow us to win work from bigger and more important clients.
Okay, so the Motive today, how is that, or Motive then, what was your aspirations to this point? Did you foresee this kind of Motive? A very different business from what it was.
So actually, a lot of people have asked me this question, but if I look right at my original business plan, it had maybe not the scale, but maybe half the scale of what it is just now, but very much it has gone to plan. the kind of end result is what I envisaged or my vision at that early stages. I had no idea how difficult and how long it was going to take.
Yeah.
I used to how I would achieve it. But yeah, the actual, you know, the if you look at the rental business and the manufacturing business part of the business, it's pretty much what I had hoped and kind of
Yeah.
booked for in the business plan.
So now you've got 380 people, and you've got, obviously you've got your strapline people and Planet. How do you keep that or grow that culture within your business? Because it's a big thing. We see your guys all around the world, Australia, ADPEC, the US, everywhere, and they all have the same mentality.
Yeah. So it starts right off at recruitment. So when we do recruitment, I mean, the first thing is when we establish that there's a new position required, whether it's an apprentice, a trainee, or a full blown accountant or a tradesman, whatever it is, we all advertise it internally. So then we already know that the person, and we really promote growth of our staff within the business. So we really push that to start with. However, if it's somebody external from the business, we don't just look for qualifications and experience. We look for the right mindset and the right, I suppose, attitude, if you like, before they start. So we're looking for somebody that'll fit in within the business, and it's sometimes more important than our actual skills and experience.
Yeah.
We've taken on people with not enough experience and qualifications, but they've got the right mindset.
Yeah.
And so that is really important to us. So that's kind of where it starts. We encourage it and almost grow the culture internally with a whole raft of different activities and
How difficult is it to grow that and try and keep that same culture and when you're opening new offices in different countries?
Not too difficult.
No?
I think because we
Recruitment again?
Yeah, because we live and breathe it. Yeah, recruitment, because when we do open up in a new country, then we start off with 1 or 2 staff. We also would generally use people within the business to start that new office or facility overseas. So we'd have expats going who have already got that culture and mindset inbuilt.
Yeah. So that's on the people side. So on the growth of the business side, you were sort of repairs, small repairs, then manufacturing, then rentals, and new into the renewable market. So there's quite a bit of breadth to what Motive offer now.
Yeah.
And how has that came about?
Again, it's evolved. So the first stage was basically manufacturing, because we don't have any rental equipment, obviously. Yeah. The rental has grown very steadily every year. We've been in business just as we could afford to build new assets. So really a cash restriction, I would say, on the business is restricted the
growth.
Yeah, the growth for the rental business, but it's quite substantial now.
Yeah.
But yeah, that just evolved. So that we also have a third division that we've had for a number of years now called C&I, Certification Inspection.
Yeah.
So this is a division that offers inspection and also maintenance for lifting equipment, cranes, that type of thing on vessels. So that's about a third of the business turnover as well.
Okay. Perfect. And then so that you grew, you started to add more rental kit. That got you to a certain point. And then in 2018, you guys took on private equity for EV.
Yeah.
So what was the decision there, and how difficult or easy was that process? How did that happen?
Yeah, so that was an interesting time. So we'd been through a pretty, I'd say, traumatic existence to that point. So we saw a couple real peaks of growth, and then some difficult times where we had to restructure and make redundancies and stuff. So we'd gone through some pretty difficult times. The business was, I would say, 2018-19 was booming. It was really looking strong. So we decided to de-risk our personal lives, myself and Dave in particular. We had, basically everything was invested in the business. Our houses were mortgaged, and with personal guarantees. everything was invested in the business. So, we knew that if things went wrong, again, we could potentially lose the whole lot. So we decided to de-risk. But it was also the right time for the business. We needed some cash to help grow the business, and we needed some expertise we didn't have. So that was when we took a decision to run a process, and we selected EV because they were quite hands-on as well. So it wasn't just a case of getting cash from them. They were really helpful in helping us build the business. And
Did they open doors? Or?
Yeah, open doors for additional financing for the business, for allowing us to develop our processes and systems internally.
And for a company that's thinking they want to grow and they want private equity money or private investment money, how did that come about? Did they come to you? Did you go to them? Did you go to somebody else?
So we employed an advisor, so somebody experienced in refinancing businesses. There's plenty of them out there. So we appointed an advisor and sat down and discussed, where we thought the business could do. And they said, well, you've got a number of options. You can go for what they call a trade sale, which is selling out almost all the equity, and you then generally become part of a bigger business. Or you can do a buy and build, which is what we're doing through different types of funding. We went for PE funding. Seemed the right choice for us. So yeah, during the process, we did attract PE offers and trade offers as well.
Yeah.
So you kind of get a mix, and then you decide which one you want to go for.
And was there a reason that was the better fit for you guys? Just how you wanted to grow the business?
Yeah. I think the big difference with PE funding and a trade offer is that you're probably in it for a longer journey with PE funding, so you kind of go along with the ride. With a trade deal, you potentially could be, if you wanted, you could be out of that process
and do something
quickly. Yeah, within a couple of years, maybe an exit and go do something else. So there's I suppose two main ways people do it, or the third way would be just to continue with the 100% owned and get funding from the bank, or just grow the business through its own cash generation.
So you took that money in, or you had that capital. You purchased Flowline at that time.
Yeah.
What was
shortly after.
Was that something you already planned to do?
Yeah.
Or
we'd been planning to buy Flowline probably for about 4 or 5 years previous.
right.
And
didn't have the money, or
didn't have the money. I think Flowline probably wasn't quite ready for being sold either. So I think with any acquisition, the stars need to align.
Yeah.
It needs to be right for the businesses buying the acquisition. It needs to be right for the acquisition business to, for a sale, they need to be ready for it. And there's lots of hurdles along the way. Even if both companies, it's the right timing for them, there's all sorts of things can scupper.
So what was the biggest challenge in buying a company?
Well, apart from the actual funding it, I suppose that's a pretty serious challenge. But I think bringing the two cultures together.
Yeah. How many people were in Flowline and how many people were in Motive at that time?
I get in trouble for this, but
rough numbers.
Yeah, I think probably we're certainly over 100 at Motive and maybe 60.
Wow. So it's a massive difference to your business.
Yeah, it was a huge acquisition for us at the time. Yeah. And it was one of the reasons we wanted to do the PE funding, is because we had this deal. I wouldn't say ready. They call it oven ready during our process. It wasn't quite oven ready, but it was definitely.
It was well cooked.
Yeah, it was well cooked. Yeah.
So then EV's no longer there now, and it's H2 now.
Yeah.
So what happened there? How does that work?
So I think with most PE deals, what they're looking for is a return on their money.
Yeah.
Obviously, so they invest money. That might be, doubling it. It might be, 50, 60%. That's an order, and they'll set a timescale. The timescale is usually 3 to 5 years.
Yeah.
So yeah, we hit what they were looking for. Within like 2.5 years. So I think almost in the 3rd year anniversary,
So you basically buy your business back, or buy that share back.
Yeah, you sell your entire business and then you buy it back. You buy back what you want to roll.
Yeah. forward.
in. Yeah.
And then you rolled that forward to H2.
Yeah.
And then you've subsequently then purchased Aquatic.
Yeah.
Another company.
Yeah.
So what's the sort of, now you're at 380 people through the acquisitions.
Yeah.
Also, I'm assuming motive growth as well.
Yeah. Yeah.
So what is the plan moving forward then? Is it to buy that back again from H2? Where are you going with it? Is there maybe another PE company coming in at motive?
There's nothing on the horizon just now. Ourselves and H2 are happy just to continue growing. We are looking at other acquisitions. So I think that's the plan for now. There will be another deal in the future. I don't know when that will be.
And how does the leadership team change then around as you go for yourself and Dave to the private equity coming in to 100 people, one or two people to 100 people to 380 people? How do you need their support over new guys to keep that culture and grow that?
Yeah. So I think the trick is to keep the leadership team and management team ahead of the growth. Yeah. So we almost like predict the growth, we forecast it, and then we start to build a team for that growth. Yeah. Sometimes the growth overtakes it, and the leadership team get a bit stretched. Yeah. So for example, with this Aquatic acquisition, there was a huge growth because we just basically bolted on their revenue. Yeah. Took on board their people. They obviously had a management team of their own, but we had to kind of reform that. So we're probably slightly behind during that integration, but now that's settled in, and we've kind of ironed out most of the issues with integrating that business. Yeah. I think we're probably at a point where we're almost like break even with the leadership team bandwidth for the business the size it is. We're investing in growing that, and not just in headcount, but also in training and experience for the team. But we're continually because we know the growth will continue coming.
So how do you
continue looking?
How do you anticipate the growth? How do you do that as your business? I know you can look at past and you can look at different things, but how do you then put people in place to manage something that doesn't exist yet?
So market intelligence, market data, our own.
What do you use for that? Just your own information?
No, we use Rystad data, and we predict what the growth might look like in 6 months' time, in a year, and start planning the team. What does the team need to look like for that?
And that might diverge into different locations and geographical places and whatever else.
Yeah. Also client feedback as well. And generally, the geographic expansion that we've experienced has been client-led. Yeah. So we've literally won a project in a location.
And then built on the back of that.
Yeah. That's generally what we've done. We're probably a little bit more strategic now in looking at client backlog, market trends and things like that before we actually make a investment in a location.
Yeah. And then you mentioned training. So we spoke before, you were saying you got a coach in Edinburgh. Not just you, but a lot of the management team or the whole management team at Motive. How did that come about and how important is that?
So it was one of the things that the EV introduced to us, was basically investing in ourselves. One of the things that Gregg, one of the partners there, that always sticks in my mind is back the winners. So really, the people at the forefront of the business, the leadership team, the management team, back them, support them, and expose them to the coaching and mentoring that.
What does that
develop? So we have a mentoring scheme within the business. So almost all the leadership team, the executive team, and some of the management team are mentors for other more junior staff members. So we do that. For the more senior people, we allow them to do external coaching with a business coach. We allow them to go and do external training courses at college or university. So there's quite a few of our senior team gone and done business management degrees and MBAs. Yeah, alongside they're working.
And it's a kind of people first driven business. What's your leadership style?
You probably have to ask some of the other stuff, but I would say it's evolved over the years.
Yeah.
I'm definitely better at listening now. Perhaps I wasn't so good at that when I first
No,
started.
I think that's the same for everybody, isn't it?
Yeah. I think it's evolved with my coaching as well. So I've had as I said, I've had a coach for like 4 years now. So it's definitely evolved, but very much people focused and, listen to people's problems and, help them come up with solutions for them. We've relatively good retention within the business, so it must be working, I think.
Yeah. And then going back a bit, you mentioned pre-EV, some good times, some bad times. What's the sort of biggest challenges? We spoke before, and you mentioned, you kind of at one point had to basically manage every single stationery payment, everything.
Yeah.
So obviously, building a business, it's no, oh, fantastic, loads of money coming in, growing your rental base, growing all around the world. There's big challenges to growing a business.
Yeah.
So, what about that part?
Yeah, so there's obviously a lot of highs in the business.
As people see the highs, especially
Yeah.
for motive, your brand, from a marketing perspective, and when you started with the tartan trousers and things like that, pre-COVID, or I think it was pre-COVID, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Your brand, obviously, taking our flow line and stuff like that, made a lot of noise very quickly, and your brand has been very strong, but wasn't it always like that?
No, behind the scenes there has been quite a lot of challenges and difficulties, but from a marketing point of view, yeah, we obviously we don't promote that. We promote the positives, and I think as a business we've always kind of punched above our weight from a marketing point of view. So I think that's probably what most people see. But yeah, within the business, there's been a lot of challenges, a lot of turmoil daily. That we've got issues, and we've had like quite a series of transitional type experiences. So generally what happens with a business, if there's some sort of crisis, then as long as that doesn't finish a business or bankrupt it, then generally a good business will learn from that, put the changes in place that are needed, and it'll grow out of that crisis. So that is what happened during the period of like 18, 19, but at our peak we did the process with EV. That growth came from the restructure that we did during the downturn of 2015. So there was a series of events which kind of led to quite a significant downturn in the oil industry, which we were really locked into at that point. And most of our revenue was coming from UK based oil and gas and Norway, but it was all North Sea, which was one of the worst hit during that crisis. So we realized we were in trouble. We had to make quite a lot of redundancies, restructure the business, take out. Me and Dave both had to remortgage our houses. We took out personal loans, all sorts of things to rescue the business.
Just keep it going.
Yeah, it was touch and go at some points,
and it was close to motive not existing at that point.
Yeah, very much so. Yeah. We almost lost it, but we were both really determined to do whatever we could to save it.
Yeah,
which we did, which also involved, losing a lot of people, unfortunately. But the people that were left were, the strongest of the strong, and we had a really, really
good core.
Yeah, a core team there, including Dave and myself, and we just knuckled down and got on with it. Rolled up our sleeves, and yeah, me and Dave were personally signing off every single payment out of the bank, regardless of what it was for. Double signing every single PO, micromanaging.
Yeah, just cash flow management.
Yeah,
to the
which is something I generally don't like doing, but sometimes in a crisis you have to micromanage. So very much intentional micromanaging during that period, and within 12 months we were, we're clear of all the high risk debt. We're trading was back on form. We're starting to employ people again within 12 months. So.
And how was that time for you personally?
Yeah, it was one of the most challenging times of my life, I would say. One of them, I've had other challenging times, but yeah, I had a new baby at the time, which wouldn't sleep, and she didn't sleep until she was 2 years fully. There was a so I had that to cope with. Also doing some home improvements at the time, so I had that to kind of deal with in the whatever spare time I had. So it was a pretty challenging time, but we got through it.
Yeah. And obviously we're in an industry where there's lots of ups and downs, lots of peaks and troughs. It's an industry that's known for peaks and troughs. You really struggled at that time. How would your business now survive? Obviously it's done well through this time. It's grown through one of the biggest downturns for a long time. Then we had COVID, and then we've had lots of different bits and pieces that just slowed that growth down. How does your business manage that going forward?
Well, I think the one of the main things that we learned during the 2015 crisis was the business was too reliant on one industry, one area. So we at that point, we took a strategic decision to diversify the business geographically, but also not just one sector or industry. So we diversified some of our equipment and pushed into renewables, or I suppose non-oil and gas, just anything outside oil and gas.
I think you told me before you guys done something for like Orange mobile phones in France or something like that. Is that right?
Yeah, there's a company called Orange Marine that we did some projects for. So that was mostly cable laying equipment through the flow line connections. So that kind of came with a flow line acquisition. But yeah, we call it non-oil and gas, but the majority of it would be offshore wind related. So cable handling.
What percentage of your business is that now?
You'll get me in trouble for this again.
We can work on rough numbers.
Yeah. Our strategy is to hit 75% non-oil and gas.
And you're well on your way.
We're well on our way, because at one point we were like 100% oil and gas.
Yeah.
So it comes and goes depending on the type of projects we're doing. But I would think we're about maybe 45% right now, 45% non-oil and gas, 55 oil and gas.
Wow, that's a big difference. Now, moving away from motive and moving away from work, what the fuck do you do when you're not working?
That's a good question. I have a whole raft of hobbies and interests. I suppose one of them is I like to keep fit.
Yeah. So you do tug of war?
I do tug of war, yeah.
Somebody told me you've got a whole setup in your facility for practicing tug of war for your team or whatever. Is that right?
So the coach has got that.
Right. Okay.
I'm in the process of building my own solo training rig in my man shed. But the coach has got a setup for training the whole team in a big shed. So when it's raining, so we train outside generally, but during the winter, and if it's raining, we can.
What kind of training's involved in tug of war?
So
I just thought you went to the field, got the rope, and then 5 guys or 7 guys on either side pulled the rope.
Yeah, that's basically it, to be honest. So the coach, the club is a club called Cornhill Tug of War Team. So it's actually the most successful tug of war team in Scotland, and probably one of the top 2 or 3 in the UK. So they've competed, at world class competitions.
So what's involved in that then? Is it just a lot of going to the gym, training?
No, so the training has evolved, and our coach has been involved in it for 30 odd years. So the training, and it's through trial and error. The training that we do now is almost 100% on the rope training. So he does encourage, running 5Ks and 10Ks.
Is there obviously you guys, you've got to be speaking to each other regards where you're, whatever else you're doing that. So what's involved on that side is sort of team training.
Yeah, you train as a team every time. Yeah. If you can't train as a team, then you can do solo training as well, which is just one person obviously on the rope. But yeah, the training is always a team exercise, and even during the training, there's a lot of camaraderie and kind of team building. But yeah,
age groups vary in that, I guess.
Yeah. So I mean, some of the people that pull in the team would be well into their 60s. So it is a sport that you can compete at pretty much any age. Yeah.
And then apart from the tug of war, what else?
Go to the gym, weightlifting, mountain biking, hill walking, hill
Very much outdoorsy.
yeah.
Yeah.
I've run an occasional marathon as well.
Yeah, you've done a few. I think you guys run one, and when we were at a show in Abu Dhabi, I think he's run it in a different country and came back.
I didn't do that one.
Yeah, some of your guys get.
Oh yeah, that one. Yeah, that was a tough mudder. That
Yeah.
was like a assault course type thing, and
Yeah, did you not get stuck in the?
we did. So it's in the hills in Dubai, and the bus took a wrong turn and ended up in Oman,
Yeah,
and then tried to take a U-turn and come back, and they wouldn't let us. So
right back in.
we got interrogated. Why are you in our country? Luckily, most of us had our passports. So.
Yeah, so you were good. You got
Yeah.
back in.
Right. So that is something that we promote within the business is keeping fit and healthy, and we can encourage a lot of team building, tough mudder, marathons, running, anything like that. So we do a lot of that within the business.
Yeah, and then last question. What is something nobody knows about James Gregg?
Nobody knows. I'm quite open and transparent, so that's a tough one. I would say my steam engines, but a lot of people know about that. So.
Yeah. So what's the situation with the steam engines? Because that's another hobby.
Well, it's one of my hobbies, yeah. So this one, I suppose I became kind of infected with the steam engine bug when I worked at Ace Winches. So my boss there had a number of steam engines, and I got involved in them there, and he still has his, and I've still started building my own collection of them.
And what's the interest in that? What's the?
It's difficult to explain, but it's the camaraderie with the other steam engine owners and
Is that a mechanical
drivers.
thing again as well? Or?
Yeah, I think the mechanical thing, the smell is something quite unique. So it's a mix of kind of smoke from the coal fire, but also hot oil gives off a smell. So the oil that's on the engines gives off a quite unique smell. It's that combined thing. So it's like that whole smell is something that when you smell it, if you've got a steam engine running or you're at a rally or something, you can smell it, and it just, don't know, it just.
So that's not a kind of every normal person hobby. So how does that come about?
Well, it came about, I think, very early on. My dad has always been interested in vintage vehicles and things, so he took me to one or two steam engine rallies when I was very young. But then during my time when I was at Ace Winches, my boss bought one and restored it, and I kind of helped him on driving it and stuff, and then just got
I
involved.
guess you're seeing
more.
that being built up as well then.
Yeah.
So there's a,
Yeah. So part of it's the kind of mechanical, the basic mechanical properties of the engine and seeing everything work. The having the fire going. So some people say, when a steam engine's in steam, it's like it's alive.
Okay.
You're responsible for it. So you're responsible to keep the fire going. You're responsible to keep the boiler water at a certain level. You're responsible for the pressure within the boiler. So you can't just go off and leave it for a couple hours.
Well, pay attention.
Yeah, and when it starts to die down and the fire goes out, then you can relax a little bit. But you're always when you're responsible for an engine and it's in steam, then you need to be alert and be aware.
Yeah, no, fair enough. James, thank you very much for joining us this morning. Much appreciated.
You're welcome.